Chapter 121, slash, slash, slash. Hellion Shuaizhen, with a head full of silver hair, had a strong and tall figure. His bulging muscles held up his thick martial arts attire, and his pair of sharp eyes were like a hawk's. He stared straight at Su Jingxing and spoke in a low voice. I don't know who you are, and I don't want to know either. I just want to give you a friendly reminder since we are both in the 4th grade. The Shi family is not as simple as you think them to be. Su Jingxing was speechless. Thank you. Su Jingxing replied calmly, thanks for the reminder, but I've already made my decision. All right then. Hellion Shuaizhen sighed lightly. Since that's the case, I'll do my best to kill you so that you don't have to endure too much pain. Before the word, pain, fell, Hellion Shuaizhen's body suddenly burst out with a dazzling light. Crack. Boom boom boom. It was as if a thunderbolt had descended upon the world and sliced through the air. Countless thick bolts of lightning suddenly burst out. With Hellion Shuaizhen as the center, they shot everywhere, covering the entire ring in an instant. At this instant, the arena seemed to have been bathed in a net of lightning, and there were hundreds of lightning snakes dancing madly and filling every corner. Not only on the surface of the ring, even in the air, the space within a 30-meter radius of the ring was also covered by the lightning snakes. A terrifying burning and tearing force struck the barrier, causing the shaking barrier to buzz non-stop. Faced with such a large-scale attack, Su Jingxing did not manage to dodge for a while and was electrocuted by a large amount of electric current. However, in that instant, he felt a stimulating pain and then it was immediately neutralized. At the same time, he understood what these electric currents were. They were not real electric arcs or electric currents, but true energy, a type of lightning and thunder true energy. Just like the heaven-trampling true energy that had weight as an attribute. Lightning and thunder true energy was not real lightning and thunder either. Instead, they were attributes. The true energy released could possess abilities similar to lightning and thunder. Burning, tearing, destruction. This kind of true energy was most suitable for covering a large area. Ordinary martial artists would not be able to withstand it. Although it wasn't real lightning and thunder, the powerful tearing and destructive force could easily shatter the physique of ordinary martial artists. Even if it was a body-tempering martial artist, if their realm wasn't very high, they still wouldn't be able to withstand it. Su Jingxing was only able to do so because his physical body had reached the limits of the human body. However, if he were to bathe in such lightning and thunder true energy for a long period of time, he would feel uncomfortable as well. Over time, the physical body at the limits of the human body would be damaged beyond repair. Therefore, Su Jingxing decisively took out his only remaining golden body card and placed it on his palm. He quietly unlocked it and applied it to his body. The red-scaled porcupine's terrifying defense instantly boosted him. Hellion Shuaizhen's lightning and thunder true energy was blocked out in a split second. Within the next 10 minutes, there was no need to fear his body being destroyed. This 10 minutes was undoubtedly the time for Su Jingxing to go all out. Crack, crack. Boom, boom, boom. Under Hellion Shuaizhen's control, the terrifying lightning and thunder true energy covered the entire arena and continuously landed on Su Jingxing's body. The old man's long silver hair fluttered behind him without any wind. His palms, mouth, and eyes were shining like lightning. Frightening claps of thunder followed one after another. The powerful destructive force caused cracks to appear on the alloy ground. At this moment, Hellion Shuaizhen was like the legendary thunder god that released world-devastating lightning and thunder, suppressing and killing Su Jingxing without end. Swoosh. Boom. Su Jingxing, who was wrapped in the energy of the golden body card, launched a counterattack instantly. The 8 steps rising dragon was executed to its limits. Su Jingxing's agile and elegant movement technique allowed him to arrive before Hellion Shuaizhen in less than 2 breaths. Standing face to face, 100,000 caddies of strength erupted, and the human origin volume of the 3 origins saber art poured down on Hellion Shuaizhen. Upwind single slash. Sweeping river army slash. Ascending dragon overlord slash. Slash, slash, slash. Kill, kill, kill. He did not use true energy as it would be nullified by the lightning and thunder true energy. Su Jingxing erupted with pure physical strength, and along with the power of the 3 origins saber art, bombarded the astonished Hellion Shuaizhen. Because Su Jingxing was too fast, when the saber light shone, Hellion Shuaizhen then realized that Su Jingxing had arrived in front of him. By the time he reacted and prepared to attack, the treasure weapon that carried 100,000 caddies of strength had already struck his right neck. Thud. 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 The treasure weapon blossomed with a radiance, and 3 consecutive strikes, each one heavier than the last, each one more terrifying than the last, slashed onto the right side of Helian Shuaizhen's neck. Accompanied by muffled sounds, Helian Shuaizhen's head continuously shifted to the left, and her entire body also sank to the left. After Su Jingxing's 3 slashes, Helian Shuaizhen was already kneeling on the ground. A visible wound on his neck was exposed to the air. And this was the result of him controlling a large amount of lightning and thunder true energy to form a translucent protective armor that covered his body. If not for the protection of his true energy armor, his head would have been chopped off long ago. They were too heavy. Every strike Su Jingxing landed was too heavy. Every strike contained tens of thousands of caddies, and every slash made Helian Shuaizhen's heart jump. Innate divine strength. Su Jingxing was born with innate divine strength. This was the only explanation that made sense. Su Jingxing had used pure strength in his previous match, and also in this match. It was as if the strength in his physical body was limitless and inexhaustible. This type of body was the representation of innate divine strength, able to erupt with terrifying power for a long time. He did not think about the limits of the Su Jingxing's body. However, he knew that he had definitely practiced the corresponding body-tempering martial arts. Otherwise, Su Jingxing's physical body wouldn't have been able to withstand the previous strike of lightning and thunder. This move had a wide coverage, and was one of Helian Shuaizhen's trump cards. Usually, not many people would be able to withstand it, including 4th-grade martial artists. Only body-tempering martial artists could do so for about half a minute. Su Jingxing had innate divine strength and cultivated a special body-tempering martial art. It basically countered this ability. This caused Helian Shuaizhen to be both shocked and furious, and at the same time, he didn't dare hold back. Go to hell. Swish, swish, swish. Boom, boom, boom. Saber light radiated, and a dull thunderous sound echoed throughout the entire arena. Su Jingxing didn't give Helian Shuaizhen any time to catch his breath at all. Before he counterattacked, the human origin volume of the 3 origin saber art was circulated to the extreme. Extreme speed and extreme strength. Just like that, he aimed at the wound on Helian Shuaizhen's neck and slashed crazily. Boom boom boom. A loud explosion erupted, and countless gusts of energies were sent flying. Dozens and hundreds of strikes landed in a second. The hacking caused Helian Shuaizhen's mind to go blank. Lightning and thunder true energy was everywhere. Gone out of control, it was bursting in all directions. His true energy armor was already broken, so how could it withstand such a rapid and aggressive slashes? In less than 3 seconds, there was a strange cracking sound as his neck was chopped off. Helian Shuaizhen's head, which wore a frightened expression, was tossed high into the air. Pooh! A pillar of blood shot into the sky with his head. Dong! The fallen head landed on the ground and rolled 3 times. Helian Shuaizhen's headless body swayed and collapsed to the ground. Clang! After extracting a card, Su Jingxing held the treasure weapon in his hand, half kneeling beside Helian Shuaizhen's corpse, propping the blade against the ground as he calmed his breathing. Slashing Helian Shuaizhen took too much strength. Now that he had stopped, besides feeling hot all over with steam rising from the top of his head, a wave of exhaustion and fatigue had surged closely behind. When Shi Jinian saw this, his eyes lit up immediately. He waved his hand and shouted, "You Kixin, Luo Lixi, you two, go into the ring immediately." Understood. The guest elders of the Shi family, who had been named, rushed out of the waiting area and towards the stage. Swoosh! A figure descended from the sky and blocked the way. Li Linzhou said expressionlessly, "It's not time yet." During the duel, the interval between the matches was set to be 5 minutes. However, Su Jingxing couldn't wait for them to come in quickly. The 10-minute time limit for the golden body card was not up yet. So, it's okay. Let them come. Su Jingxing propped himself up with his saber and shouted at Li Linzhou, "It's best if everyone comes together." Together. The audience who had yet to recover from the shock of Helian Shuaizhen's death could not help but be stunned. Yu Kixin, Luo Lixi and the others were pleasantly surprised. "Commander Li, look. There are rules in a duel." Li Linzhou had no expression. "Only one person can go in every match. Which one of you will go first?" "All right." Yu Kixin, Luo Lixi and the rest pursed their lips in pity. If they attacked together, there was no doubt that they had a high chance of killing Su Jingxing. "I'll go first." Yu Kixin took a deep breath and walked towards the ring. As a guest elder of the Shi family, regardless of what was ahead, he could only put on a bold face and go through with it. Next, Shi family, Yu Kixin. Lin family, Stone Annihilator. Li Linzhou announced the start of a new match. Swish, swish, swish. A shrill sound of wind breaking could be heard. As soon as Yu Kixin stepped into the ring, his hands danced and shot out rows of fine poisonous needles. Swoosh. Whoosh. Su Jingxing ignored the needles and executed the 8 steps rising dragon. He held his treasure weapon and charged in front of Yu Kixin, slashing down. No. Pooh. Blood sprayed out and his head was thrown into the air. Next. Su Jingxing extracted a card and turned to look at Luo Lixi and the others who were waiting at the entrance of the ring. Next, Shi family, Luo Lixi. Lin family, Stone Annihilator. Li Linzhou's voice sounded. Whoosh. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As soon as Luo Lixi stepped onto the stage, the long sword in his hand stirred up waves of strong winds, carrying a scorching aura as he charged towards Su Jingxing. Swoosh. Su Jingxing continued to ignore Luo Lixi as he used the 8 steps rising dragon. In a flash, he appeared in front of Luo Lixi and slashed down. Pooh. Once again, blood splattered, and a head was in the air. Next. Su Jingxing picked up the card and shouted. Next, Shi family, Wu Yiqing. Lin family, Stone Annihilator. Swoosh. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Wu Yiqing, who had a slim and graceful figure, also released her true energy as soon as she entered a ring. She brandished a long whip and swung it wildly to attack Su Jingxing. Boom. Su Jingxing continued to ignore her. He stepped on 8 steps rising dragon and swiftly rushed forward. The treasure weapon in his hand shone with a radiance as he slashed. Bang! The air exploded. Wu Yiqing sensed it and dodged in time. But. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The extremely fast saber light appeared again. This time, 3 slashes were released consecutively and the saber energy drowned Wu Yiqing. She did not even have the chance to scream before her head was separated from her body. Next. Next, Shi family, Yuan Xinwei. Lin family, Stone Annihilator. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Pooh. Next. Next, Shi family, Ni Chong. Lin family, Stone Annihilator. Swish, swish, swish. Pooh. Next. Next, Shi family, Zhou Benjin. Lin family, Stone Annihilator. Swish, swish, swish. Pooh. Next. Next, Shi family, Lian Dongwen. Lin family, Stone Annihilator. Swish, swish, swish. Pooh. Next. Go on, die. Go on, die. Go on, die. For a period of time, in the huge arena, Su Jingxing's shout would be heard less than 20 seconds after Li Linzhou's announcement. With every shout, a guest elder of the Shi family died in the ring. The spacious ring was soon filled with corpses and blood. Next. Next. Quote ellipsis quote. Su Jingxing's voice gradually lowered and his body started to sway. The audience, however, went from feeling shocked to dazed, then to being blank, and finally to feeling numb. In the arena with more than 100,000 people, other than Su Jingxing's shout and Li Linzhou's voice, everyone else had shut up. They watched numbly as the Shi family's guest elders or descendants went into the ring one after another and were killed by a single slash or 3 slashes. This killing method that resembled the slaughtering of pigs, no, the slaughtering of chickens, had everyone trembling from head to toe. They were speechless from shock. Until. Clang tilde. With a crisp sound, Su Jingxing's strength was completely exhausted. The treasure weapon in his hand fell to the ground and he didn't shout anymore. His hair, face, and clothes were all drenched in sweat. Dripping, his sweat joined the pool of blood, creating ripples. The entire arena fell into dead silence. How many? How many people from the Shi family had been killed? The crowd stared at the large display screen hanging in the middle of the arena with their numb scalps. It showed a row of numbers. The number of deaths from the Lin and Shi families. At this moment, the numbers were 69, 0, 69. 69. He single-handedly won 69 matches consecutively and killed 69 people from the Shi clan. 2 in the 4th grade, 11 in the 5th grade, and 27 in the 6th grade. The rest were all 7th grade martial artists. Faced with this data, everyone was once again shocked beyond words. The throats of the audience watching through televisions and the internet were dry and their limbs numb. Without stopping, he had killed 67 6th grade, 5th grade, and 7th grade martial artists in one go. Is he even human? Whoosh. Su Jingxing walked step by step. In the moment he stepped out of the ring, the quiet stadium finally regained its liveliness and went into an uproar. FCK, FCK, FCK. Mad, mad, I'm going mad. Who is this guest elder? He's not human. This fellow isn't human. He killed 69 people in one go using just a small amount of true energy. This fellow is definitely not human. When did the physical body strength of a 4th grade martial artist become so exaggerated? If he hadn't finally stopped, I would have suspected that he would continue killing his way through. Ah, this is amazing, too amazing. Quote. Screams, shouts, cheers, all sorts of sounds were mixed together, forming a sound wave that reverberated in the arena. The ordinary audience was shouting like they were partying, but the Li, Zhou, Wang, Qi families and even the people from the Martial Suppression Office, the Public Security Team, and the City Guard Office were quiet. Meanwhile, the Shi family was deathly silent. Patriarch, shall we kill him while he's exhausted? A voice sounded behind Shi Jinian's head. Shut up. Shi Jinian barked in a low voice. On his somber face, the darkness could almost coagulate. Kill Su Jingxing. Did he not notice that Li Linzhou's gaze was wandering around the Shi family's area all this while? If the Shi family were to make any moves, Li Linzhou definitely won't sit still. 69 people had died, and Su Jingxing had finally left the ring. The Shi family still had a chance. Shi Jinian had already figured out what kind of people were in the Stone Annihilation Alliance. Other than Huang Ya, who was in the 6th grade, the rest were all in the lower ranks. Among them, majority were in the 9th grade. How dare these people challenge them? Courting death. Shi Jinian wanted all of them to die, to keep all the dead Shi family descendants company. Oh, senior, sit here, sit here. In the waiting area on the left, Su Jingxing returned shakily. Xiao Chengyu immediately fussed around him. He brought towels, water, and even wanted to give him a massage. He only stopped after Su Jingxing raised his hand. Senior, don't worry. We'll handle the rest. Shen Qian looked at Su Jingxing respectfully and said seriously. Yes, senior. Take a break with an easy mind now. We'll go and fight the Shi family. Xiao Chengyu clenched his fists. I'll go first for the next match, Zhang Tianao said straightforwardly. No, let me go first. I'll do it. I've waited so long for this day, I'll go next. Quote. The few of them fought, all wanting to go on first. Hey, old Guan, where are you going? Yang Sijing suddenly shouted at a reserved middle-aged man. The latter did not seem to hear her. Carrying a huge saber on his back, he walked straight to the ring. Stop arguing. Uncle Guan is going ahead. Mao Xiaomao shouted at Xiao Chengyu and the others. Shen Qian, Xiao Chengyu, and the others turned to look at the ring. The middle-aged man named Guan Yedao had already reached the entrance. Standing at the edge of the entrance, he watched as the public security team quickly carried the corpses off the stage and sent them to the crematorium. After the corpses were cleared, a powder was also scattered onto the fresh blood that flowed out of them to congeal it into solid pieces. All that was left was a strong fishy smell of blood. It would take some time for that to be dispelled. Guan Yedao waited for everyone to leave before stepping into the ring. Whoosh! At the entrance on the right, the participant from the Shi family quickly rushed into the ring and stood on the ground covered in white blocks. He stared at Guan Yedao with hostility. Next round, Shi family, Shi Jinduo. Lin family, Guan Yedao. Li Linzhou's voice echoed throughout the venue. Only then did the noisy arena quieten down. Everyone looked at the ring. Remember, the person who killed you is called Shi Jinduo. On the arena, Shi Jinduo drew his longsword and released his true qi, slashing at Guan Yedao. Swish! The air was torn apart as powerful energy danced in the air. Guan Yedao, who was a man of few words, stomped on the ground and ran around the arena at his fastest speed. Shi Jinduo, a 6th grade martial artist. Old Guan is only in the 7th grade. How long can he last? Yang Sijing muttered as she looked at the ring. No matter how long, it's still a gain, Shen Qian commented. Of course, if old Guan can fight to the death and seriously injure Shi Jinduo, that would be even better. Using death to injure severely. It was a good idea, but the situation was not so optimistic. Su Jingxing leaned back in his chair and pulled up his mask, revealing his mouth. He stuffed a few essence energy pills into his mouth to relieve his fatigue and recover his energy. A moment later, he stuffed a dozen strength pills into his mouth to replenish his strength. Essence energy pills in one mouthful and strength pills in another, he supplemented himself in an orderly manner. On the other hand, his true energy hadn't been depleted much, so he didn't have to replenish it yet. Looking at Shi Jinduo and Guan Yidao on the stage, Su Jingxing's eyes flashed. At the start of the battle, Guan Yidao fell into a disadvantage and was chased by Shi Jinduo. Shi Jinduo's sword energy danced around the ring, continuously cutting through the ground and barriers. Guan Yidao's speed was sufficient, but his movement technique was lacking. Thus, he was quickly swept by the sword energy, and the wounds on his body gradually increased. Correspondingly, he was also moving closer and closer to Shi Jinduo. Finally, with a strange sound, Shi Jinduo's longsword pierced through Guan Yidao's chest and through his back. The two of them were leaning close together. Damn bastard. Shi Jinduo looked at Guan Yidao coldly and growled, "Do you think you can hurt me by getting close to me? Let me tell you, don't even think about it in your next life." Guan Yidao did not say anything, but blood kept gushing out of his mouth. Then, he looked at Shi Jinduo and laughed with difficulty. Ha! Bang! A deafening sound echoed throughout the venue. Guan Yidao's body suddenly exploded, turning into countless bits of flesh and blood that rained down and scattered all over the ground. Even though Shi Jinduo, who was right in front of him, had true energy protecting his body, he was too close, and the might of the explosion was too great. He was blasted off the ground on the spot. The flesh on his face became mangled and half of his chest caved in. He was sent flying for more than 10 meters before crashing heavily onto the ground. His limbs were trembling, and blood trickled down the corner of his lips. His eyes were wide with disbelief. In the end, he died abruptly with his eyes still open. A hush fell over the entire arena. Everyone was dumbfounded. Perishing together. Perishing together. Guan Yidao, who was in the 7th grade, was actually dragging the 6th grade Shi Jinduo down with him. Too ruthless. Vicious people, they are all vicious people. The guest elders of the Lin family is already abnormal enough, but the others are also crazy. That's right. This Guan Yidao had actually tied a bomb to his body. By self-destructing, he would kill Shi Jinduo with him. How ruthless. Haha, the Shi family must be panicking now. It wasn't easy for them to hold on to the Lin family's guest elder left. They probably didn't expect the others to be able to kill too. Quote. The huge arena was in an uproar. No one expected Guan Yidao to actually drag Shi Jinduo to death with him. The members of the Shi family, who had recovered from their shock, were indeed rather flustered. Lunatics. The Stone Annihilation Alliance were all lunatics. Shi Jinyan's face was not only somber, it was almost black as charcoal. Ha ha ha. Look at Shi Jinyan's expression. The people from the Li, Qi, Zhou and Wang families all burst into laughter, gloating at their misfortune when they saw this from afar. All of you, tied bombs to yourself. Su Jingxing glanced at Shen Qian, Zhang Tianao and the others and asked in a low voice. Of course, this is normal. Xiao Chengyu pushed his hair back and smiled confidently. Although we're not as strong as the Shi family, we can still drag them down with us. No matter what, one person killed is one kill earned. Su Jingxing remained silent. Regardless of whether he admitted it or not, at the very beginning, Su Jingxing really only wanted to make use of the Stone Annihilation Alliance. However, at this moment, he felt some admiration for them. Eliminating the Shi family wasn't just empty talk. They were truly willing to go all out. Guan Yidao was not the first. Soon, Zhang Jun, Yang Sijing, Zhang Tianao, Lu Meng, He Bing. One after another, they chose to self-destruct, either heavily injuring or perishing with the people from the Shi family. Boom. 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 The explosions continued. The 100 matches gradually decreased. When there were only 10 matches left to go, Su Jingxing stepped into the ring once more. Swoosh. The saber light flashed across. The head of the fleeing Shi descendant left his neck and flew high into the air. It fell to the ground with a thud and rolled twice. On his frightened and indignant face, his eyes were wide open. Next. Su Jingxing extracted a card and turned to look at the entrance on the right side of the ring. Outside the entrance, a group of Shi descendants were waiting. Terror was written all over their faces as they looked at Su Jingxing with gazes filled with fear and resentment. Although the Stone Annihilation Alliance were all lunatics who had tied the bombs to their bodies, they still had a chance of survival against them compared to Su Jingxing. As long as they keep a distance and make sure they do not get, or are only slightly affected by the explosions, they would at most end up with some injuries. But Su Jingxing was different. Facing Su Jingxing spelled death, and only death. There were no exceptions. No one was willing to take part in a match where they were sure to die. Unfortunately, the duel had come to its final stage, and the outcome was already decided. The Shi family had lost. In order to cut losses in time, these last 10 descendants of the Shi family were people that Shi Jianian had specially sent into the ring for Su Jingxing to kill. As expected, all 10 of them came from the collateral lines. The kind that were unwelcome and not well liked at that. The last 5 were not even in the 9th grade. They were all ordinary people. The moment they entered the ring, they began crying and shouting, wanting to kneel and beg for mercy. Su Jingxing slashed at them from a distance and sent them to meet their ancestors. At this point, the duel came to an anticlimactic end. When Li Linzhou announced the end of the duel, more than 100,000 spectators who were present had yet to snap back to their senses. What's going on? How did it end? That's right. The beginning was so intense that it was either, next, or, boom boom boom. Why was there no commotion at the end? It's not that there's no commotion. It's mainly because the Lin family's guest elder is too powerful. Now that he has recovered his strength and returned to the ring, if he were to fight freely, no one will be his match unless the Shi family sends out a 4th grade expert. The key is that even if they do send out a 4th grade expert, he might not be able to defeat the Lin family's guest elder. Yes, the Lin family's guest elder is too strong. Although he is only in the 4th grade, he is born with innate divine strength. No one knows his true background. If they were to act rashly, they will pay with their lives. In any case, the outcome has already been decided. It's obvious that they've lost. Since that's the case, why send any 4th grade experts? It's better to have 10 bottom-rung members of the Shi family die than a 4th grade member of the family die or suffer serious injuries. Tisk tisk, I can only say that Shi Jinian is really ruthless. Bolsh T, he's just taking into account the bigger picture and preserving the Shi family's effective strength. In the spectator stands, the crowd were in fervent discussions. The last 10 matches were so calm, or even uninteresting that it left one in a daze. Anyone with a bit of insight could see Shi Jinian's intentions. Stop the losses in time. Even though Su Jingxing had made a clean sweep of most of the Shi family's higher-level martial artists, their strongest combat powers did not suffer any losses. The 2 4th grade martial artists, Jimin and Helian Shuizhen, were merely guardians of the Shi family. From the beginning to the end, the 4th grade experts of the Shi family had never shown themselves. As long as they were still around, the Shi family would not fall. The Li, Qi, Zhou and Wang families didn't dare to act rashly. A martial artist in the 4th grade, it would be fine if he was killed on the spot. If they let him escape, he would be like a time bomb. They wouldn't even know when it would explode near them. In particular, no one knew how many 4th grade experts the Shi family had. Under such circumstances, who would dare to touch the Shi family? The remaining members of the Stone Annihilation Alliance were unwilling to accept this, but they could only choose to do so. Overall, this plan is very successful. Don't be discouraged. In the isolated office, Shen Qian clapped her hands to attract everyone's attention. She encouraged, the Shi family has not been exterminated yet. Our battle is not over yet. For this, I hope that everyone will continue to work hard, continue to accumulate strength, and strive to completely wipe out the Shi family next time. No one responded. Everyone's eyes fell on Su Jingxing. Everyone present knew very well that if they wanted to destroy the Shi family, it would ultimately depend on Su Jingxing. For them, even if they continue to work hard for another 50 years, there would still be no hope. Shen Qian naturally understood this. When she spoke, she also looked at Su Jingxing. Su Jingxing wanted to end the cooperation here. After all, the duel was over. However, after thinking for a moment, he still said, I'm sure everyone has seen that Shi Jinian isn't the kind of person who gets hot-headed and impulsive easily. If he was such a person, he wouldn't be able to become the patriarch of the Shi family. It can be said that as long as he's around, completely destroying the Shi family will be quite impossible unless we have the help of powerhouses in the top ranks. More than one at that. Do we have powerhouses in the top ranks? No. Therefore, the annihilation of the Shi family needs to be discussed at length. Continue to do what you have done previously. Of course, it's best to increase the surveillance on the Shi family. At this point, Su Jingxing paused. If you make any unexpected discoveries, you can contact me. All right, we know what to do. Shen Qian said happily, Senior, don't worry. We will inform you immediately if we find anything. Quote. Fine. The Stone Annihilation Alliance was still useful. Maintaining contact was more beneficial than detrimental to Su Jingxing. Of course, if they wanted to make use of him, he could only say that they were courting death. Su Jingxing didn't mind having a few more cards. Back at his small courtyard at the foot of the mountain, Su Jingxing counted the gains from this duel. A total of 79 people had died in his hands. Therefore, a total of 79 functional cards were extracted. Since most of them were descendants of the Shi family, most of them were bloodline cards. 49 of them. Each of them contained the 3 yin candles blood. Su Jingxing set them aside and checked the other cards. The remaining 30 were from Shi family's guest elders and guardians. There were only 2 guardians, Ji Min and Helian Shuizhen. The cards extracted from both of them were skill cards. Among them, Ji Min's was a secret ability, Sky Rocket Cannon. This secret ability strove to use the body as a weapon. It had very high demands for one's physique. Then, under the drive of true energy, lock onto a target. Like a projectile, the user would possess terrifying offense and destructive power. When Su Jingxing and Ji Min were competing, Ji Min's entire body was glowing towards the end as he chased after Su Jingxing relentlessly. This was the secret ability he used. As for Helian Shuizhen, a martial art was extracted. Divine Spirit Control Technique. Su Jingxing read the description carefully and found that it was actually a top-level control-type martial art. Spirit Control, Spirit Control. What it controls are spirit weapons. Even a first-grade big shot would be greedy for such a martial art. Helian Shuizhen really has a collection. God knows where he got them from. That's right. It was collect, not cultivate. This was because the divine spirit control technique extracted from Helian Shuizhen's corpse was not only just a section of the entire thing, this section was also FC King incomplete. If Su Jingxing wanted to cultivate it, he would have to use many years in his deduction cards. Therefore, even though he was tempted, Su Jingxing could only endure with the divine spirit control technique for now. There were 28 cards left, 22 true energy cards, containing a range of 5 to 20 years cultivation. The 6 skill cards all contained martial arts. Although 5 of them were good, they could not be compared to the 100 steps raining fist. After Su Jingxing looked through them, he kept them in his palm space. There was only one martial art that Su Jingxing thought was awesome. Air-splitting palm. This was a martial art with similarities to striking someone from a distance. When released, it was silent, and when it erupted, it would sound like a thunderclap. Its demands on true energy were not very high, and it could be applied to any attribute. It was easy to learn the basics, but difficult to master. If it was difficult to master, then perhaps that was a flaw. However, because of this weakness, there were many people who cultivated this air-splitting palm. At the very least, through Wan Rong's memories, Su Jingxing knew that all the major factions in Qinghe City had people who cultivated the air-splitting palm. The reason for this was its origin. Its roots came from a dojo in Changyang Prefecture City. That dojo had existed for more than 100 years. The crowds who wanted to acknowledge a master from there, or pay to learn martial arts were endless. In the dojo, other than ultimate arts that weren't leaked, most of the other martial arts skills were leaked. The air-splitting palm was one of them. This martial art was not weak, but it was difficult to master. There were many people who cultivated it, but few were successful. After taking a closer look, Su Jingxing decided to learn it. There was no problem with its origin and it was powerful enough. There was also a complete set of mental cultivation techniques and moves. It would be a loss not to learn it. He unlocked the card immediately and absorbed all the information about the air-splitting palm. After comprehending it a little and remembering the key points, he temporarily put it aside. There was no hurry to cultivate martial arts and up his cultivation level. He had yet to settle the 49 bloodline cards. Su Jingxing wanted to see how much Thunderbolt could recover from feeding on 49 blood pearls. Therefore, he unlocked the bloodline cards one by one and obtained 3 yin candles blood pearls of different sizes. Every time he fed it one, the azure light on the surface of Thunderbolt would become brighter. Without the stimulation of the big white goose's glow, Thunderbolt, after absorbing the 3 yin candles' blood, automatically emitted green light. 49 bloodline cards, 49 blood pearls. After absorbing all of them, the green light on the surface of Thunderbolt was almost as bright as a light bulb. It slowly left Su Jingxing's palm and floated in midair. While it radiated a green light, it spun gently. Not enough. Su Jingxing focused his attention on his spirit weapon and received sentient feedback from Thunderbolt. Although it was vague, the meaning was there. Not enough. Almost. Su Jingxing narrowed his eyes. It was within an inch of recovering completely. This was telling him to continue targeting the Shi family. He wondered how many direct and collateral descendants of the Shi family were left after the duel. The Shi family's residence. Bang! A muffled sound echoed in the quiet hall. Shi Jinian, who had just finished giving instructions, stepped out from the inner room. When he saw the 2 men tied up and lying on the ground, he frowned and asked, "Who are they?" "Patriarch, these 2 are from the Flying Cloud sect." A black-clothed martial artist with a cold aura replied. Flying Cloud sect. On the left side of the hall, a middle-aged man with unibrow eyebrows sneered and said, "Now, even these underground gangs dare to provoke the Shi family. All right, cut the crap." Shi Jinian raised his hand and said in a low voice, "How's your progress with the task I handed you?" "Don't worry. I never make mistakes." The unibrow man grinned. "There is nothing wrong with being careful. No matter what happens, there cannot be any problems." Shi Jinian said lowly. All right, I'm not a child." The unibrow man was a little impatient. He shifted his gaze and looked at the 2 people lying on the ground. "Big brother, how should we deal with these 2? Kill them directly, or—" "Of course they'll be sent over there," Shi Jinian said in a low voice. "The old man is about to succeed and is lacking manpower. These people have come just in time." "Really?" The unibrow man was overjoyed upon hearing this. "Big brother, the old man is finally going to succeed." "That's right, another 100 or so and it'll be over." Shi Jinian was also a little excited. "Great, that's wonderful." The unibrow man stood up and waved his fist in excitement. "He has finally succeeded. We waited for this day for 20 years. No, that's not right. We waited nearly 100 years. Now, we are finally about to succeed. Haha, as long as old man succeeds, Li Linzhou, the Li family, the Zhou family, and the Qi family will all kneel down and kowtow to me. Ha ha ha." The unibrow man couldn't suppress his excitement and laughed loudly. "Calm down." Although Shi Jinian was overjoyed, he did not lose his composure like his younger brother. The unibrow man was his biological brother from the same mother, Shi Jinlin. In this duel, only 5 members of the Shi family's Jin generation. Other than Shi Jinian, Shi Jinlin was one of the 4 others. For the Yan generation below, all those above 16 years old were dead. And for the Ji generation above, all below the 4th grade were also dead. There was no need to mention the guest elders and guardians. They were all killed by Su Jingxing. If not for the fact that the Shi family still had a team of sacrificial soldiers and the 2 factions they controlled in secret, they would not have any manpower to mobilize. Because of this, Shi Jinian hated Su Jingxing, who hadn't revealed his identity from the beginning to the end, and the Stone Annihilation Alliance to the core. The old man is still lacking manpower. There are people in the Stone Annihilation Alliance. Lure out the remaining martial artists and capture them. Send them over there. Shi Jinian ordered in a deep voice. All right. Shi Jinlin clapped his hands and said, "I've been wanting to kill these small fries for a long time." Previously, they were hiding in the dark and were very vigilant. If anything went wrong, they would change their base and we'd miss them many times. Now that they've been exposed, they can forget about escaping. Pay attention to the 4th grade. Shi Jinian thought of Su Jingxing and said with an overcast expression, he might be with the Stone Annihilation Alliance. "Don't show yourself." "Don't worry, I'm not that stupid." Shi Jinlin raised his hand. "Also, you must capture the remaining martial artists of the Stone Annihilation Alliance alive. We don't want them dead," Shi Jinian warned. "Understood." Shi Jinlin rolled his eyes. "I'll take care of this. Just wait for the good news. I'll cut the crap and get going first." After he finished speaking, he turned around and quickly walked towards the main entrance, disappearing from Shi Jinian's sight. Soon. Shi Jinian looked at the night sky and muttered softly, but a hint of fanaticism suddenly flashed through his eyes. In the small courtyard at the foot of the mountain, Su Jingxing put away Thunderbolt and took out his true energy cards. The Shi family was currently being watched by all the major and minor factions in the city. If he were to kill a Shi family member and extract the bloodline card, the commotion would be too great. Su Jingxing was in no hurry. He could afford to wait for Thunderbolt to recover. Before that, it was better to improve his cultivation level. Su Jingxing compared the 22 true energy cards and left 2 as reserves. The rest added up to exactly 200 years of cultivation. The 200 years of Attributellus true energy was absorbed into his Dantian and converted into heaven-trampling true energy. Su Jingxing's true energy cultivation hence exceeded 300 years. In the 6th grade realm with 300 years of true energy cultivation. Ignoring whether anyone will come close to this in the future, it was probably accurate to say that this was unprecedented. Su Jingxing was overjoyed with this sudden 200-year increase, but he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He truly lacked experience, and the ethereal sword immortal had not mentioned it either. It made sense. How many people would be able to endure for 300 years in the 6th grade? This sudden spike in cultivation level naturally affected his physical body as well. Smoke was rising from his head.